This is my GPS, which I use for geocaching. It's a Garmin Legend. I've had it many years. I've had a recent problem with it, which you can't actually see here, where the screen sometimes goes corrupted. So I've done, to try and fix that, I took my Legend apart and decided to film it all. So I'm just going to talk through the steps, because watching the video on its own doesn't really tell you. So this is the rubber banging over it. When it's in hot sunlight, it tends to come away, as you can see here. I've got sticky tape on there. Usually it's just held on with some special glue, but I've already replaced it. So here I'm pulling it off, and that's the double-sided sticky tape on the actual underside. So here, once I've taken off, it's still a little bit sticky, so it needs to be given a good clean, and also around the outer housing of the GPS as well. So I'm just peeling off the old sticky tape, which I'll replace with some brand new stuff. That lasted about, it's probably been on about 2 years, so you get a good use out of it when you replace it. So what you're left with is still a surround of normal tape all around the device. So that needs to be taken off as well, but what I did first was, my device was pretty sticky, so I took it away and gave it a bit of a clean. So that is going to be more manageable now. In a moment, with the rubber surround, I'll show you how I actually cleaned that. So just turned it inside out and just put soap on my hands and that, and just did a rubbing action like so, just to easily get all the stickiness off, and then just left it to dry out. So now you've got to find where the edge of the actual sticky tape is. So it's on this case, it was a little bit difficult for me to find it, but you just look for the telltale line, which I think is there where I've actually found it. I think you can, on the video you may be able to just see it, but you just peeled it away. Now I've noticed on other videos that people have reused this, but I probably wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't recommend reusing the tape. I'll show you later the actual device I sort of pulled together to actually make it easy to get a piece of tape to size. But you'll see the actual tape covers each of the actual buttons, so there's no actual holes or anything. So that all easily comes off. So the little micro switches, actual buttons. So now I'm working out how to pry it apart, and what you may just about notice, and pointing out with my fingers there, is there's little notches, the little hooks where you can get a small screwdriver in. Now what I was gonna try and do here was prise this open without breaking any of the actual tabs on them. So there we go. Right, so this is what I use. It's just one of the screwdrivers which lots of watchmakers use, quite a small one. So on the sides of the actual device, it's very easy to tab them out. Now there's one at the end, and that is very, very difficult. I think ideally you need to actually attempt that one first rather than doing the edge ones, because I think it needs to come, the actual panel needs to come out straight. But I had a lot of difficulty trying to get that one out, and had to come off camera in the end to attempt it. So I think it would have been better to have the whole housing, the two parts fully together, and then just try that one on its own, and then prize the other four, which are very easy to tab open. Yeah, see, I'm having a lot of difficulty there. So I think if you do that one first and have a light screwdriver in the central thing to stop it forming back together, and then do the other four, and you may have a better chance. Yeah, didn't realise how long I was trying to do it for. Right, so off camera I went and did it, and I wasn't successful in having it a clean flush. I did actually break the tip off it, but on other videos I've watched, every single person's actually broken it. I haven't seen anybody doing it successfully. But it doesn't affect it when you come back together. Those other 4 points in the sticky tape are still enough to securely put it back together. So that's the wire which attaches to your serial cable. That can easily, it's just a connector, so you just pull it out, so that can be taken one away. And those two little springs, those are the actual battery contacts to give the power to the unit. So those little two gold dots in the middle, that's what the battery pack goes to. Actually, I'm only just looking now. I didn't realise that looks like a battery in the centre. Didn't realise there was one. But on that actual motherboard there, you've got various Garmin. You've got a Garmin chip with a chip with a Intel logo on it, and on the other side there was a chip with a Samsung logo on it. So now I'm just getting me a screwdriver to carefully pull the motherboard up. Now the constant going in and out of focus, that's because my webcam has an autofocus feature on it, and it's because of the nature it's struggling to determine whether it needs to focus on my fingers and thumbs or whether to the actual board itself. So that's a motherboard, and it's attached to the LCD screen and the main rocker switch just by ribbon cable. Now I was surprised how clean my actual devices are inside, which, well, although I'm surprised, it's probably not surprising because it's a sealed unit with the tape. So my best guess with my corruption problems was that the ribbon cable wasn't properly in there, and as the rocker switch goes through the ribbon cable as well. I had problems with my rocker switch being able to use it, so I think that was a good indication that over time the actual ribbon is gradually pulled out. Usually I have to give my device a hard thump to get the screen back on. So now I'm giving you a look at the actual main board. So that's the antenna there on the top. So now pull the motherboard to one side, and there's the LCD screen, and it's just secured to the unit by just where my top finger is. There is two screws which hold the rocker switch and the motherboard and LCD in place. So there's not many parts to this. You do wonder how much, where all the money is in these devices, because you would think with the quantities of them sold that the prices would be cheaper than they are. They don't seem to have moved much over recent years. So I'm just giving the camera a good look at the actual motherboard. I'm also having a good think about how to actually get the ribbon cable attached again. Right, so now I'm unscrewing the LCD. So it's just two screws, slightly off camera. Now I was using a very big screwdriver for this, very overkill, but it's the only one which I felt could securely get into the notches and unscrew it without having to shear off any of it. So it just easily comes away. There's a piece of plastic over that blue case and that, so it's still a sealed unit. That, and if looking at that, it's absolutely clean, no dust particles or anything, so nothing has got into that unit. So that's all the parts take away, so there's not much to it, and I was expecting to have an exercise of having to give it a clean, but there's nothing, it's just clean as anything. So now I'm attempting to put it back. So off camera I've actually put the ribbon back on. Now I've tried this a few times. I actually screwed the LCD into that blue case first, but found I just wasn't able to get the ribbon cable on. Let's see, actually. Right, so now I'm just testing that the unit still works, making sure I've not taken it apart and messed anything up. Right. So there it is, it's all working okay and the screen's nice and clear. So I think in my case it was the ribbon cable which was a problem with it being properly securely reseated. Then my unit's just going to be, because it's new, I don't need to buy myself a new GPS. around, just checking that all the buttons are still working before I start putting it together. So yeah, the rocker switch is still working and all the other switches are working. So I've turned the unit off now. Right, so I've got the LCD screwed back into the case, so I was attempting to connect the ribbon case, so just doing all the steps in reverse, but this was just impossible to do. Just the blue case just gets in the way. So just trying various things, doing like a 45-degree angle, and then I was just trying to do it horizontally with the main board, trying to slide it, but then you then can't see it, and when you're trying to do it on camera as well, it makes it hard, and you'll then have to get your screwdriver in to close the securing points on the ribbon socket. Yeah, so that's the sort of thing you need to do it that way, but with it being secure, the LCD being secured in the case, it's just impossible to do. So now what I've done now is the actual LCD is not screwed into the blue case, and then I put both units into the blue case and then slowly pull the main motherboard off and then pull it slightly to the left. So I've attached the ribbon cable to both units outside the blue case. So now I'm getting my screws, and it then makes it a lot easier to put the items in. Come on. Right, and then I've just double checked that the ribbon cable, there's a little line on it so you can check that it's still horizontal with the connector, so you can make sure there's been no movement. So that was okay. So now that's now seated in place. Now that big silver bit, I don't know what that is personally, so if anybody knows what it is, just add a comment to the video. Be interested to know. And even those chips with the like the Intel logos, if you know what they are, put them on. Be interested to know. So I'm putting the serial cable back on. So I've got a serial cable which goes to a USB converter from a computer now, because serial ports on computers thing of the past. So now you just make sure it's securely down and get the clips down. And pretty easily that should click into place, which it looks like it has done. Oh, I've gone and opened it back up again. Right, that looks like it's in place now. So as I do each stage now, be putting the batteries in just to make sure everything still works, because there could be various points where a unit could not work because of the way you connect it together, or even when you start putting the tape on, you may put it onto to a point that the buttons no longer work. So I'm just checking the rocker switch and checking each of the actual buttons. Right, so that was all okay. So now I need to get the tape. So what you can see in the background is my little contraption for getting the tape for going around the unit. So I've got a knife, put it in a vise, and below it I've got a roll of tape. So you need to get a strip of tape which is roughly probably half to 2/3 the size of the width of that tape there. So all I was doing was doing a long strip, so there you can work out what sort of size it is. So I think it's around nearly 2/3. I'm taking the left hand side. So now I'm getting the GPS and I'm just checking. So just cutting off the final bit. So now I've got my long strip of tape. Get everything out of the way. Now, it's a good idea to have the device in frame so you can see what I'm doing, but what I'm doing is I'm starting the tape off. You can either start it at the top or the bottom of your GPS device any moment now. Right, so I've started at the bottom of the device, and then I'm doing it very tightly, trying not to get any kinks or air bubbles, and it's very easy. This, the top of the bottom are thinner, but it doesn't matter. You can get a knife to those later. So just go around. So now I just need to unseat it just to get the long bit to line up. So then I just overlap it by about an inch. That's about an inch to the bottom bit there. And then I just cut off the excess. So that's all secure, and it's pretty tight over those button points. So I'll pop the batteries in to check that it's still working. Now I found this all still works okay. I think because the tapes are tight over it, you don't tend to hear on some of them the telltale micro switch noise, but I think over time that'll loosen up. So I'm now just put my rubber bands in situ just to check that the pressing the rubber points, it'll still work. Right, so I'm happy with that. So now I've taken my sticky back tape and I've put different points on, and then what I also do is now originally I was trying to use my knife for it, but you just use scissors, don't use the knife, too much hassle. So each of those points I've also notched off the first bit of the covering. It makes it a lot easier. Even with it off just like that, it's very difficult to get the first part of the backing on, but that might be because the tape's quite old. So what you do is pull off the tape from the top and bottom of your device, and then attach the band. You can either do the top or the bottom. I think I may have started with the bottom. I think I found that one easier. Yeah, so line it up to where your lanyard bit goes. And then just squeeze it down. You will still get a bit of movement in the tape to start off with, so you will be able to reposition it. Right, so again, I'm just putting the batteries in, just check that everything seems to be working okay. I've put the case on, the batteries can stay there now. I'll cover my hand every time because I've got my name and address on the actual device. So on the left hand side there is a bit of overplay on there, but my initial thoughts was once the tape comes off that'll be okay. But the right hand side of the device, once it's taped down, that one will probably be okay. So once all the you confirm that all the buttons are still working on the device, so I'm just checking each one. Yep, so I'm happy there. So what I'm now going to do is pull off the sticky back. So I've done a notch for myself, but even then it can be a bit difficult, but I think that may be because of the actual age of the tape. I think if you have a fresh roll it tends to be easier. So I need to get my knife out to try and prise it. So you notice where the buttons are, I haven't got any tape, so my initial thoughts would be it would be okay, but then you notice that I've got a gap, a floppy gap there. it's just not gonna be suitable. So pull the backing away from the existing tape, and you've got about a 4mm strip that you can do on there. So I'm just getting my tape now, I'm getting my scissors, and just gonna cut away a strip. Just visually measure it. So I stuck it down. Now you've got to try and get the backing off, which, as you can see, it can be tricky. There we go. So you see that's a lot better. It's not rising up now. So on the other side, I'll pull off the bits of tape. So that's it, nice and secure. There'll still be a bit of movement with the rubber, with it seating with tape for about 10 to 20 minutes. But after that, it'll be rock solid, and you shouldn't be able to move it. And that should last you another 18 months, 2 years if you keep it out of sunlight. So I hope you enjoyed this rather long video, and a device here which is good as new. Bye.